Yeah, I'm doing some weekend analysis here with the British pound and the euro dollar and the US dollar. So I just had three currencies across three charts. So I'm trying to do a triangulation here. So if you only take the best trade out of these three pairs, you should be able to keep your life pretty simple. And, step outside of these, then you're keeping your reference in a circle, in a triangle. So here's the, I'm just going to create a template here. I'm going to save this template. And that'll just be always, my favorite template is always template number 1. So let's keep refreshing 1. If I really like it, it's number 1. Now I have to come in here and load it. And it's just going to be more chart shift on this, so I can plan out the trades for next week. And I'm looking at just this, this is like 400 pips, so trying to make, so how many pips do you want to make, I guess is the question. And at what rate, here I'm looking at weeklies, so here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. Next week's coming up, so we're planning out next week's trades basically. We're in this channel currently. This price pulse, if you strictly kept to this concept where you have this as a price pulse, and here will be your target. So you hit the target, actually blew through the target. You went to this big fat round. So you went up 300 pips, right? From this guy, then you could have cashed out here. It blew into here. Almost came with sellers there. They clipped out the. Take these guys out here. Like right up in here, there's a top. There's like a bunch of stops in this little cove up here. So when they grabbed these, then it was okay to start going and making a stairway down. Wash it back to this wick here. Would have got you in maybe on that wick. That was pretty. You really kind of had to overpay a little bit in here. And then your first target would have certainly been to get out of here when they came after those guys again. So now it looks to me like if I extend this out to here, I'm certainly just going to lay buy limits here for sure. That's a no-brainer next week. So we could be coming down. We may have to come back to walk down to here where this top bottom is. So if you place a buy limit here, that's the pound, maybe just scalp in here. Plenty of scalps available, when this thing starts to come down like this. Say it comes down in here, a scenario is going to come down to this top. Will become a bottom, and you'll have a channel here projecting. So that might be around Wednesday, and then maybe you only get a failure swing to here. This bottom, it becomes the next top. And this is another scenario. But I'm always thinking in terms of a geometric balance point here, because nature, if you believe it's a natural thing, here would be the cycle low. Of course, this is not Fibonacci. This is just linear stuff, and then same here. This price pulse projected this one. Then you had this steep one, projected this one. You got there in price, but not that quickly. And then this is the, of course, this is the new obvious pivot. But I'd say let's buy here if you're a buyer, and sell here if you're a seller. So just put your sellers up there. And then I don't know if we're ever going to make it down to hiss again. I could change the time frame here yet, but I was just trying to get this so that I could find the best trade out of all these going into next week. I think it's more like, let's see, this channel's been broken, so I think we're walking up this new channel here. Of course, it doesn't mean you can't break this. So we'll walk up here. We certainly made it back to the center point of this move. I'd start thinking about placing sell limits up here. Like, can't do it now, the market's closed, but right up in here, certainly sell limit there, bounce off that. Certainly put us, I mean, the obvious place to sell here, just selling here, of course, right? Next week. Yeah, if you make it up there. If you want to ride it up there, I'd say the place to get on board maybe down, dips down here. Let's see on this pair. I think place to board the spaceship would be over here actually, because you could have one of these wicked retests where the market does this. Well, at least you know, conservatively, I guess high risk entries here, comes back into this top. So that would give you a channel. You know, you would have to walk down into this. But if you want to get in a little higher risk, the closer you get, the riskier it is. Because if they come down, and of course this would be a great scalp. It's the good old euro dollar. And so I like to fix the scales on these so I can shuffle them around. Actually, it's best if you queue them up to see pip for pip which is the best risk, which you can handle pip-wise, you know, without feeling nervous. Here's the, guess I didn't quite cue that up. Easier said than done. There's no program to do this, unfortunately, I know of, that's going to compare apples to apples for you, but yeah, that's about as good as it gets, I guess, right? Okay, so that's about the picture there. I guess it's about the trajectory and how steep these guys are walking up. But you get the general idea there, right? I mean, it's kind of like, I prefer it to be a 45-degree angle. So maybe the pips adjustments have to be more like this. But I think it's easy to think about 45 degrees being an okay pace to win and lose money. But this is the current price pulse here. This pullback situation, if it's 90 degrees to the last thing, so let's make a copy of that, drag it up here, and make a copy of that, and then make a copy of this. Start to look for the next pivot. So you're gonna probably have to. I mean, you can pretty much see what a Fibonacci, Andrew's pitchfork, anything you could find a harmonic to land this on. I mean, it's like kind of just do it yourself. But then I guess we want to come back with some trend lines. Maybe let's not get too carried with the trend lines. You know, maybe like that's a possible intersection point for next week. This guy here, wow, real boring, isn't it? Trading's just so boring. But yeah, I just copy what I got there. I won't add anything because you don't want to change the angle of this. If this is the angle you picked for your rollover, you gotta stick with it, kind of, because it's just easier to wait for that channel to get hit. And this would be your speculating into the futures there, where it could walk up into. Same here. So I'll make a copy of that just so I have a reference. Somebody asked me about why you draw those lines, because this has got to be, you have a key for it, right? You need a key to put that on top of, you need a window. So you're going to trade into the future. You can't trade the left side of the chart, so you have to take these guys, and so that would be your linear, you know, of course there's a stairway within the stairway, so like an Andrew's pitchfork, it may have to come back to this before it walks up, and then here's all the 10 pip handles. So another way to do it is to take your 10 pip handles and just make them so they squash in. As soon as these 10 pip handles like touch each other, I mean, you could trade with you know, you could trade the 5 pip handles. It's gonna look like this, But 10 pips seems to be pretty, yeah, maybe here, let's get to like a Gann, not a Gann grid, but I guess a 45-degree grid there. And, yeah, I mean, it's just, like I said, I'm placing orders down here to buy, you know. I buy the bounce, you know. So, hope that helps. Probably doesn't.